Hello, everyone. Stephanie Zima here with Walk It Free, where we heal, connect, and level up. And today we're going to be talking about social awkwardness and why it's so important to be yourself so you can conquer your social awkwardness, right? So, all of you guys know what it feels like to walk into a room where you don't know anybody, right? You don't know anybody, and people are going to stare at you, and they're going to look at you, and you're going to sit there, and your palms are starting to sweat, and you're starting to think to yourself like, oh, what if they, you know, what if they don't like me, or do I fit in, do I not fit in, or any of this stuff. And sometimes you might even not take advantage of opportunities just because you're so afraid that you can't connect with others, or what's going to happen when they are coming to find you and try to talk to you, or any of this stuff, right? And it can be anxiety provoking, whoever you are, whether or not you are a mom who needs to go and wants to go into play dates, social outings of mommy meetup groups or anything like that, or if you're wanting to join, like for example, a meetup at a church where you get to know more people, and you're really looking for that connection. You're really craving the adult conversations, yet it's really tough if you are feeling socially awkward to put yourself into these networking decisions, right? The same as if you are running a business. If you want to grow your network, you have to put yourself out there. You have to put yourself out there with camera. You have to put yourself out there talking to people. You have to put yourself out there in networking events, and reach for these opportunities if you're really wanting to grow. Now, how are you going to overcome this social awkwardness? That is what it is. And so first, I want you, as we are diving into this, I'm having this whole week, by the way, just in case you haven't noticed this yet, I'm going to say it right now. I have all this week in my private coaching community, which is only $20, guys. It's so cheap. It's only $20, and every week we are talking about a different topic, and I will give you like action steps on how you can apply what I'm teaching into your life. And it's much cheaper than therapy, I always say, but it's very, very worth it to take care of. So make sure you check that out. It's www.walkitfree.com, and then choose the personal development option. So we have all communication skills this week, right? That we are doing in that group. But now, before I dive into this, you have to kind of know that there's different types of communication. There's a verbal, a nonverbal, a visual, and a written. Okay, and so the verbal and the nonverbal right now is really what's most strong. How are you speaking? How are you coming across? What's the tone of your voice? Are you using a lot of filler words like the like I just it all depends on what kind of day you have and how focused you are and what you're trying to achieve. But are you using a lot of filler words? Are you very clear? Can you land the plane, Jane? Right? It's like my coach always says, can you land the plane? Can you bring your point across? Can you do these things? A lot of different factors are falling into that line. For example, if you're a mom again, right? You are probably in survival mode, depending on how old your children are. For the last 5 years, I would say I was pretty much in survival mode, brain-wise. I couldn't think of big strategy. I couldn't think in my business. I couldn't think like, how am I going to do all that stuff, right? It's just, I was on a day-to-day survival. There were so many things when my babies were little that I had to focus on that I couldn't really do it. Now, I was lucky because when I grew up, I'm going to tell you that story. When I grew up in Germany back then, I was part of a foster family. That was what my parents were doing. And we had kids coming in and out of the family all the time. Every 4 to 6 weeks, the kids were changing. They were changing. There were new ones. There were multiple ones too. So I had to constantly adjust to new people. I had to constantly adjust to new scenarios and to new environments. And, that made me very pivotal, right? Like, so even though I am introverted, I can adjust very fast to different people in different scenarios, and therefore I am also outgoing, right? And that's where some people think like, yeah, you are totally an extrovert. And hey, Paul, good to see you. And I am definitely not an extrovert. I love people, don't get me wrong. I love connecting with people. However, I am definitely an introvert. I do need my time. I need my downtime, all the things, right? So you have to know these things about yourself. So when you are having communication that are verbal, if you are not clear in your brain because your body is on survival mode, your brain is on survival mode, then verbal will lack, right? You're gonna have good to see you, Paul. Thanks for tuning in. So you're gonna have to work on that, and the way how you work on that is not what you think. Like many people say, oh, you need to read more books and do all. To the woman who is already on survival mode, is that's gonna sound horrific. Okay, that's going to sound absolutely horrific. What? I need to do more. I am already trying to survive here. I'm trying to do all these things. And it's just that just gets you more and more into your social awkwardness, right? If you are thinking it this way. So if you are struggling with verbal, you're gonna need to actually take the opposite approach of figuring out how can you fill your cup. How can you figure out what is good for you? How can you come out of that survival mode? How can you get more help? How can you distribute the responsibilities that you have going on to shovel more free time for you so that you can actually start thinking and your nervous system can start relating, right? And relaxing. And you can kind of get a mental focus because you cannot speak verbally proper if your brain is all mumbled and jumbled, right? Makes sense. So that's the approach. That's the approach that I take with everyone who is coaching in my private community is you need to get the foundation done. Yes, we all want to have speaker training. Yes, we all want to do do these networking events where you're going to sound amazing to everybody. But if you have not worked on your foundation yet, that's not necessarily your next step. Okay, so if you are dealing with social awkwardness, you have to not only get out of survival mode, but you also have to figure out what is your self-confidence. Like you need to be, what is your superpower? Who are you? Where does that come from? How excited are you to do your mission, your business, your what? Even your mission. If your mission is just general life, if your mission is to become the best mother you can possibly be for your child, right? The best parent. That's a mission, you guys. I'm not only talking business. I do talk business too because I have a lot of friends who are building businesses also, and personal development is the foundation for that. You have to have a rock solid foundation to be able to join these events, to get up there, to talk to people, who are possibly higher up in level, and that's who you want to talk to. You want to talk to the people who know more than you do and who have more money than you do. But if you're dealing with fears in your brain because you're feeling insignificant and you're feeling not good enough, then you are not going to make that step. So therefore you are going to feel socially awkward, okay? You have to work on that foundation in order to do that. Okay, nonverbal communication is also equally as important. So notice how your emotions make you feel and show up physically. Okay, if you're excited, you're gonna have, bam, you have a lot of power, right? If you know clearly what you want, you are walking very fast to the thing that you want, Yes, would you agree? I probably think you would. Now, if you are shy about it, and I can tell you, let me tell you a little story. Back then, when I was in Germany, I had self defense classes that we were taking, and they were educating us on the way we are walking. So if we would walk tippy toed, very fast steps, then it would, to the abuser, it would show that we are insecure. Therefore, we would be more of a target to them, to the attackers. If, however, we are having very precise, clear steps, very strong stepping, not like looking around like this or like, but just going from A to B, having clarity to go there. That's when the attacker would be like, that's a strong person. I don't think I'm going to mess with that person. I'm going to find an easier target. The same applies for whatever it is you're doing in your life, okay? If you have clarity where you go, who you are, what's good, why you can do what you can do, okay? You are going to win already. You're going to be liked because people are going to see your confidence. They're going to see that you know what you're doing. Part of the training that I've gone through, we had to write down our assets. And on this process of the journey to figure out who I was, what I wanted to become, who I wanted to help, and how I'm going to get there, right? All these questions we have, we were doing it in every area of our life. Our financial side, we were talking about our personal sides, we were talking about our family lives, our business, all these things. Every single area of our life, we needed to do this work. And part of the work was writing your asset list. Who are you as a person, and why are you able to help others? And one of the things that I want to come across and tell you guys is I can show up so confidently right now with my coaching because I have lived every single thing that I'm teaching. I have gone through all these different stages of life. I have learned how to be introverted and very socially awkward, to figuring out what my strength is, figuring out how I'm going to go there, actually walking the steps, putting myself out of the comfort zone, and getting into scenarios that are uncomfortable and that are new and awkward. And that is why I ended up going and doing all these things. This is why I had to do this, and why I want to encourage you to actually go ahead and do these things. You have to find your assets. You have to figure out what makes you so great at it, what makes you worth it, what makes you being able to go. And all of these realizations in your brain will help your posture. It will help you have the clues and give out the vibe that you want to give out. Now, let's say you have to be aware of who you're going to talk to. And that was an area, who's your audience, right? That's an area that I messed up with. This, I guess, is what I want to say. For the longest time, when I came from Germany, I was just being me. I was being me myself, and I was talking to everybody. And in America, the habits were a little bit different. Everybody does talk to you, but not immediately so deep. And I love personal development. I love talking all these things, and I love talking really in detail. So it could come across very fast as oversharing, right? And it's because in Germany, the culture is a little bit different than the culture is in America. So I did not know my audience. So a lot of people, when I first came in contact with them, I would share all these things about me, right? Because that's who I am. But it's almost like dating. Like, you don't want to immediately go for, what I'm talking about. You do want to kind of, be courteous just a little bit. Anyway, know your audience is the long story short. Now, socially awkwardness is just something that gives you clues that you need to work on your skills. You just need to become aware of who you are, who you want to talk with, who you want to have in your life, what mission you want to accomplish in your life, and how you can get there. What is your strategy? Okay, that's how you're going to overcome that social awkwardness, because every person, once they are aware of who they are going to be just fine, because they're perfect the way they are already right now, right? There's a saying, birds of a feather flock together, right? And that's the truth. That is the truth. And once you know, like, let's say if you are, I talked about the tribe that you want to get into. Like if you are in business, for example, and you're in a networking event, you want to seek out the people who are higher in level than you are. Why? Because you want to learn from them. Now, you're not going to go in there, okay? Once you know that, you're not going to go in there and tell them all the great things that you did. No, you want to put your listening ears in, and you want to hear what they have to say, because you need to be clear that why are you going there? What is in it for you? How are you going to show up? Who is going to be there? Do your homework. That is preparation. That is how you are overcoming that being socially awkward, right? And when you are secure in yourself, when you have worked on your confidence, you are going to be much more capable of handling and dealing with these situations. So I hope this helped somebody. Drop me in the comments what your takeaways are. I love to hear if that has helped you at all. And I will upload this to my YouTube. So if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube, go ahead and do that so you can have references and check out some of the other trainings that I have done so far. And if you are interested, I'm telling you, if you are interested, go into my personal development. I'm going to link that offer here below. Go in there and be part of that group. We're going to be talking every week on a different topic. We're going to be talking about setting and achieving goals, about building self-confidence, positive mindset, how to develop that, how to deal with time management, how to overcome anxiety. What else? We're going to talk about resilience, emotional intelligence, developing skills, all that kind of stuff. So it's epic in that group. Make sure you're hopping in there. It's literally only $20 a month. And you're going to have daily little videos and trainings and things that keep your mind straight, okay? Because that's the key. You want to be focusing every single day, just tiny bit, like small little steps every single day. That will shift your focus, that will get you going, that will hold you accountable, that will be the accelerator in your life and your business. And you know what happens when you do that? Your happiness is going to go through the roof. So I hope that was helpful to you guys, and I'll chat with you all later. Bye.